My parents spent my entire life putting my sister on a pedestal, dismissing everything I achieved. But during Thanksgiving dinner, she accidentally exposed my hidden $10 million fortune, and the entire family erupted into a shocking public meltdown that changed everything forever. Throughout my life, my parents undeniably favored my sister. This dynamic reached a dramatic peak at Thanksgiving dinner when she discovered I possessed a fortune of $10 million, leading to a complete public breakdown. When casual acquaintances ask about my formative years, I usually guide the discussion to other topics. My upbringing wasn't precisely awful. I had sustenance and shelter. Yet it was undeniably far from perfect. I'm Deborah, 38 years old, and I've chosen to recount my experiences not to elicit pity, but in the hope that others might find a shared understanding. My world changed irrevocably when I was 8. That year, my sister Amanda made an early entrance into the world. I remember my father's hurried departure to the hospital late one night, leaving Aunt Jennifer to look after me. A collective apprehension enveloped our family regarding the baby, and I shared in that worry. While I didn't fully comprehend the intricacies of premature birth, I sensed the gravity of the situation. Amanda pulled through, though she remained exceptionally delicate. Our residence swiftly became a sanitized environment, resembling a small medical facility, with my mother perpetually cleaning. The sharp, clinical aroma of disinfectant permeated every room. Any slight sniffle from me would immediately redirect my mother's attention from me to Amanda. "Deborah, was that a cough?" she would inquire, startled. "We mustn't risk anything. Get your things. You'll stay with Grandma for a few days." Consequently, I often spent time at Grandma's or Aunt Jennifer's, as if my presence posed a health risk. Initially, these stays felt like minor excursions, but gradually, I understood I was being marginalized. A deep yearning for my parents' affirmation drove me to academic excellence. I consistently achieved superior grades, participated in the debate squad, and even secured first place at a science fair. Yet, Amanda's fragile health invariably cast a shadow over my accomplishments. "Look, Mom, I won the science fair," I'd exclaim, proudly holding my award. "That's good, sweetie. Did you sanitize your hands?" "Amanda hasn't been feeling quite herself," she would respond with a wave of dismissal. By Amanda's 7th birthday, she had fully recovered from her early ailments, growing into a strong, healthy child. Still, my parents clung to their overprotective tendencies, unable to release their grip. Amanda, recognizing the significant influence she now wielded, began to manipulate their steadfast devotion by fabricating vulnerabilities to get her way. My high school years were meant to be my time to shine. I dedicated myself to my studies, upholding exceptional academic performance and engaging in numerous after-school programs. However, Amanda's requirements invariably took priority. One evening, my science instructor shared with my parents that I had a genuine opportunity for a prestigious science scholarship. "Deborah stands out as one of our most brilliant pupils," he commended. At that exact moment, my mother's phone chimed. Amanda, with her sitter at home, was inconsolable. "What's troubling you, darling?" Mom inquired, worried. Amanda's cries filtered through the phone. "I can't locate my preferred pen for my assignments. The one Deborah provided is terrible." Just like that, my significant moment vanished. My parents hurried home, cutting short any discussion about my prospective future, all to assist Amanda in finding a writing implement. Following this incident, they ceased attending my academic events altogether. "It's simply less complicated," they reasoned. "Amanda becomes distressed if she feels excluded." When I claimed victory in the state debate championship, they didn't even put my trophy on display. "Amanda dislikes viewing other people's accolades," my mother clarified, stowing it away in a cabinet. My acceptance into university ought to have been a momentous occasion worthy of celebration. I had secured a complete scholarship to the state institution, covering both my academic fees and accommodation. I was elated until I walked through the front door for dinner. Amanda barely glanced up before disdainfully rolling her eyes and declaring, "Finally, you can vacate this space. I'm transforming your bedroom into my personal gaming station." I envisioned 3 monitors and a full streaming setup. From that instant, I began meticulously counting the days until my departure for higher education. Those years passed swiftly. I maximized my time on campus, treating my family home merely as a brief stop for infrequent evening meals, where Amanda consistently dominated discussions with trivial middle school tribulations. At 23, with my university credentials, I secured a management position at Thompson and Company. The remuneration wasn't sufficient for extravagant living or gourmet dining, but having my own apartment was entirely satisfying. One afternoon, while browsing social platforms, an advertisement captured my interest. Unlock the potential of your finances. Typically, I'd bypass such promotions, but this time I hesitated. The program required an enrollment fee, which I could manage if I committed to a temporary diet of inexpensive instant meals. That choice fundamentally altered my trajectory. Matthew, the educator, simplified the art of investing. I began modestly, allocating a few $100s to technology shares, then steadily augmented my contributions. I diligently analyzed market trends, delved into risk assessment, and mastered the fundamentals. My initial significant success occurred after I backed a fledgling AI firm that few were discussing. A modest $375 contribution rapidly multiplied within 3 months, followed by a biotechnology startup that trebled my capital. Soon, my investment returns eclipsed my conventional employment income. The instant I grasped that I could step away from my corporate role remains crystal clear. While feigning engagement at my desk, I glanced at my investment application. A particular stock had reached its projected value. After calculating the figures, I realized my investment earnings had tripled my annual salary. At that precise moment, I composed my letter of resignation. Nonetheless, I maintained the custom of attending Saturday family meals, perhaps out of ingrained habit, or possibly from a lingering wish for change. I would sit, consuming my mother's unremarkable chicken, as they invariably conversed about Amanda, all while my hidden investments steadily generated substantial returns. "Deborah, you're still employed at Thompson's, aren't you?" Mom would inquire, showing minimal interest in my answer. "Indeed, same position," I'd respond, fully aware they would cease paying attention before I completed my sentence. It was more convenient that way. There was no need to elaborate that I had departed 2 years prior and now accumulated more in a single day than I previously earned in an entire month. Amanda remained the central topic at every dinner. She had gained admission to Carleton University, a costly private institution. "It's a substantial financial burden," Mom would lament, though her tone conveyed only immense pride. "But Amanda merits the finest. We secured loans, but it's a worthwhile investment for our precious daughter's future." Amanda, idly coiling her pasta, would nonchalantly remark, "My flatmate owns a Gucci rucksack." Everyone there hails from such affluent backgrounds. Her unspoken message was undeniable. Our family standing simply wasn't comparable. Then one Saturday, I discovered Mom weeping over a pile of invoices. Dad was submerged in official documents at the table. "Property taxes have risen once more," he murmured, "and with Amanda's tuition." Observing their financial predicament, my thoughts drifted to the countless instances they had prioritized Amanda over me. Yet, despite everything, they were still my mother and father. That evening, I arranged an automated transfer of $7,000 monthly into their account. When I informed them, Mom actually embraced me, a gesture she hadn't made in years. "Oh, Deborah, this will be an enormous relief." I had nurtured a faint expectation that circumstances might evolve, that perhaps they would finally perceive me differently. But that hope dissolved when I overheard their kitchen conversation after the meal. "We ought to allocate some of Deborah's funds to Amanda," Mom proposed, "at least $450. The poor dear feels so out of place among all those prosperous students." Dad consented without delay. "Excellent notion. She needs to uphold her image. Perhaps she can finally acquire that coveted designer handbag." I yearned to burst in and reveal everything. That I'd resigned from my employment years prior, that my portfolio had made me far richer than they could ever conceive, that if I wished, I could purchase the entire boutique they were so eager to send Amanda to. But I refrained. I simply stood there, silently shaking my head as they conspired to channel my earnings into bolstering Amanda's social standing. By the age of 29, I felt prepared for a new chapter. My financial ventures had surpassed my most ambitious projections, and I was weary of lease agreements. Following months of searching, I located the ideal residence, secure, offering an impressive urban vista. It wasn't ostentatious, simply solidly constructed and expansive enough to feel like a true home. The most satisfying aspect? I could acquire it entirely, free from any mortgage, any liabilities, any financial entanglements. The day I received the keys, I stood in the vacant living space, my footsteps reverberating against the bare walls. This possession was solely mine. No one else held a claim. There were no debts, no need for endorsement from anyone but myself. When Mom telephoned, as she always did, to converse about Amanda under the guise of inquiring about me, I offhandedly remarked that I was relocating. "Did you secure a more affordable rental?" she asked, preoccupied, papers rustling audibly in the background. "Just a different dwelling," I replied, noncommittally, better situated. "Well, try not to overspend on rent, dear. You understand how volatile the employment sector is in your profession." I almost chuckled aloud. If only she realized that my profession now involved overseeing millions in assets, not merely processing documents at Thompson's, as she still presumed. During the subsequent family gathering, Aunt Jennifer inquired about my new dwelling. Before I could respond, Mom interjected. "Deborah's leasing a different apartment," she stated dismissively. "But you must hear about Amanda's significant achievement. She's on the cusp of graduating with top honors from Carleton University." Predictably, the discussion transformed into an exclusive showcase of Amanda's accomplishments. The assembled relatives lauded her promising prospects, casting fleeting, slightly sympathetic glances my way. "Amanda is destined for greatness," Dad proclaimed with immense pride. "It's hardly unexpected. She has always been our shining light. Corporations are already vying for her employment, unlike certain individuals content with mediocrity." My cousin quietly remarked to his spouse, just within my hearing. I slowly savored my wine, contemplating the substantial market transaction I had completed that very morning, one that had yielded more profit in a single day than he accrued in an entire year. Yet I remained silent. I allowed them to persist in their chosen delusions. Next arrived Amanda's graduation reception. Mom and Dad spared no expense. Lavish catering, exquisite adornments, the full extravagant display. I couldn't help but observe that a considerable portion of the funds I provided had financed this grand event, but by now, I was accustomed to such occurrences. Amanda paraded in her academic regalia as if she had just made a monumental scientific breakthrough. She noticed me near the beverage station and promptly headed straight for me, clutching her diploma like a prized emblem. "Witness this, Deborah," she declared, thrusting it into my view. "Carleton University, not some ordinary state college like yours. And I already have interviews scheduled with premier corporations. I certainly won't end up shuffling documents like you." I took another slow sip of my beverage. "Congratulations, Amanda." "Is that truly all you can utter?" she sneered. "Aren't you envious? I mean, I'm destined for such immense success, and you're merely, well, you." She stood there, almost quivering with an urgent desire for me to acknowledge her superiority. I could have effortlessly revealed my vast investment portfolio, my unencumbered apartment, and how my daily earnings before my morning coffee surpassed her entire first-year salary. But what purpose would it serve? Instead, I simply gave a slight shrug and departed, leaving her there, clutching her diploma as if it were a defense against her own underlying insecurities. 3 months subsequent to her graduation, Amanda remained without employment. Those prestigious firms she had so proudly mentioned, the ones purportedly keen to recruit her, evidently weren't particularly impressed by her expensive qualifications after all. Concurrently, the student loan statements began to arrive. One evening, Mom telephoned. "Deborah, do you have a moment to speak?" I instinctively understood the impending request. Amanda's loan installments. She faltered, likely attempting to infuse her words with emotional gravity. They are truly straining us, darling, and with all our other expenditures, I truly hate to impose, but might you possibly? How much is required? I interrupted, already sensing future regret. Well, if you could elevate your regular contribution to $3,500, it would be an absolute godsend. I reflected on all the instances they had discounted my achievements, all the moments Amanda had ridiculed my professional path. Yet I also considered my substantial bank balance, comfortably residing in the seven-figure domain, a fact my family remained utterly unaware of. Very well, I eventually stated. I will modify the payments commencing next month. Mom barely finished uttering her gratitude before outlining her intentions for the funds. This will significantly alleviate Amanda's loan burden, and perhaps we can acquire some suitable attire for her interviews. Several weeks subsequently, Amanda finally secured employment at the very firm where Dad maintained connections. He coincidentally knew the human resources director from his university days. The profound irony was not lost on me when she commenced her role with the designation of manager. One weekend, I visited our parents' home and discovered Amanda reclined on the sofa, scrolling through rental advertisements on her mobile device. Everything is absurdly expensive, she grumbled. I can't believe I'm forced to remain here with Mom and Dad. It's utterly mortifying. You might consider a more compact dwelling, I proposed, or perhaps broaden your search beyond the city's core. She cast me a look implying I had suggested she reside in a makeshift shelter. I require the appropriate district, Deborah. Not that you would comprehend. Some of us actually possess discerning tastes. I surveyed our parents' unpretentious living room, where she currently resided without cost, but opted to reserve my opinions. She exhaled, casting her phone aside. This is merely transient. Unlike you, I won't be confined to a managerial position indefinitely. I possess genuine aptitude. As Thanksgiving drew nearer, Mom plunged into her customary frenzied preparations. Annually, she insisted on managing every detail herself, transforming the kitchen into a state of disarray. But this year presented a new challenge. I have no clue what I'm going to do, she wailed over the phone a week before the holiday. I injured my back retrieving Amanda's laundry from the tumble dryer, and now I can barely stand. How am I expected to prepare a meal for 20 guests? Why not permit me to handle the arrangements? I offered. I can have everything supplied by that new establishment in the city center. Mom's demeanor instantly became cheerful. You are such an exceptional daughter. I truly don't know what we would manage without you. During our video conversation, I glimpsed Amanda in the background, theatrically rolling her eyes. Even the slightest commendation directed my way was sufficient to sour her disposition. Thanksgiving Day unfolded as most family assemblies did. The catered meal arrived punctually, and I assisted Mom with the preparations, striving to disregard Amanda's ceaseless remarks about how store-bought filling could never compare to homemade. I had brought my portable computer, as the Asian stock markets would commence trading during dinner, requiring me to monitor my holdings. I positioned it in my old bedroom, left it operating, and joined my relatives. The cuisine was superb, significantly surpassing Mom's typical arid poultry. As everyone settled with their plates, Mom couldn't resist mentioning her back injury. I was so apprehensive about managing all the cooking, she informed the gathering of aunts, uncles, and cousins. But Deborah intervened and arranged for this magnificent catered feast. Wasn't that incredibly thoughtful? That was truly considerate of you, Deborah. Aunt Jennifer beamed. I imagine it wasn't inexpensive. Oh, it's nothing, I replied, downplaying it. I'm simply pleased everyone is enjoying themselves. She earned sufficient at that managerial post to assist us quite a bit, Mom added, a rare moment of open pride in my capabilities. Across the table, Amanda's expression darkened. Without warning, she shoved her chair back and stormed from the room. I initially dismissed it as one of her usual fits, but a distinct unease settled over me. When she reappeared, she clutched my laptop, her smirk sending a chill of apprehension through me. Let's uncover just how prosperous Deborah truly is, she proclaimed, her voice saturated with malicious satisfaction. Since she's so generous, she won't object if I reveal her bank balance to everyone. Time to expose the sham she truly is. I sprang from my seat. Amanda, stop. But it was too late. She had already spun the laptop around. My banking application, still open from earlier, was brazenly displayed. An absolute silence descended upon the room. Amanda's countenance contorted as all color drained from her face. Her hands trembled so violently, I feared she might drop the device. Amanda. Mom's voice wavered with genuine concern. What is it? What does it indicate? Amanda's reply was a mere whisper. 10 million. The quiet was oppressive. I could distinctly hear the rhythmic ticking of Mom's antique wall clock, the low hum of the refrigerator, and the faint scrape of my cousin's fork against his dish. There must be some error, Aunt Jennifer murmured, leaning closer. Deborah is merely a manager at Thompson's. I haven't been employed at Thompson's in years, I stated calmly, finally revealing the truth. I resigned to pursue full-time investing. I delved into market analysis, completed extensive courses, and developed considerable expertise. You mean you're wealthy? Amanda's voice fractured on the last word. I drew a slow breath, surveying the astonished faces surrounding me. I've been investing for a long time. I began modestly, refined my approach, and yes, that account holds $10 million. I wasn't intentionally concealing it. None of you ever bothered to inquire. The stillness endured for scarcely 3 seconds before Mom shattered it with a piercing wail. 10 million, she sprang to her feet, her complexion turning an alarming crimson. You've possessed $10 million and allowed us to struggle? I gazed at her incredulously. Struggle? I send you $3,500 every single month. Her voice ascended to a shrill, deafening pitch. Your sister has educational debts. We have expenditures. How could you be so utterly self-centered, so unbelievably avaricious? Dad's face contorted with outrage. We instilled better values in you, Deborah. You've been hoarding this fortune while your own family endures hardship. Something within me irrevocably broke. Years of being the unnoticed daughter, the dependable yet inconsequential one, converged in that instant. Oh, so accumulating wealth is a transgression now? How ironic, I scoffed, though no humor accompanied my words. Tell me, where were Mom and Dad's miraculous savings when it was time to fund your college, Amanda? Yes, they never put aside a single cent because they squandered everything on you. But here's the crucial detail. They didn't finance my education either. I earned a comprehensive scholarship, while you amassed colossal debts for your opulent private institution. That is entirely distinct. Mom snapped. Amanda needed, Amanda wanted, Amanda. I cut her off, my voice escalating. It has always revolved around Amanda. Well, here's a dose of reality. My money is mine. Every single dollar. I earned it. $3,500 a month is trivial to you. Mom retorted. You ought to be providing us with at least $10,000. We are your parents. A sharp, bitter laugh escaped me. 10,000? So you can perpetuate the spoiling of your golden child. I pivoted towards Amanda, who was now slowly retreating. You intended to expose me as a failure. How is that unfolding for you? The sister you ridiculed for being just a manager turned out to be the one who genuinely forged something of herself. Tell me, Amanda, how does that make you feel? The entire family sat petrified, forks suspended midair, witnessing the unfolding catastrophe like a chaotic spectator sport. If you are so prosperous, Mom sneered, then you bear the responsibility of supporting your family. That is your obligation. My obligation? I stepped closer to Amanda and retrieved my laptop from her trembling hands.
No.
My obligation concluded the moment you decided I held no importance. You invested everything in Amanda because she was the exceptional one with the brilliant future. Well, go right ahead. Let her and that brilliant future of hers attend to you. Aunt Jennifer attempted to intercede. Perhaps we should all take a moment to compose ourselves. But it was too late. Mom and Dad were both screaming now, their voices merging into a deafening maelstrom of rage, accusation, and entitlement. Amanda had dissolved into tears, her habitual recourse when circumstances didn't align with her expectations. I uttered not another word. I simply turned and exited the dwelling I had once considered my home. As I reached my vehicle, I could still discern my mother's enraged voice shrieking behind me. The barrage of messages commenced even before I arrived at my apartment. My phone vibrated incessantly, calls, texts, all originating from Mom, Dad, and Amanda. Initially, their communications were filled with fury and demands. Then, they transitioned into attempts at emotional coercion. I initially tried to reply, hoping perhaps, just perhaps, they would finally grasp the situation. But it proved futile. They had no desire for comprehension. They desired my money. Subsequently, Mom resorted to social media, her post a masterwork of cunning manipulation. My heart is shattered to learn that my eldest child has achieved affluence, while her kin endure hardship. She declines to assist her sibling with educational debts or to sustain her elderly parents. Wealth truly alters individuals. Kindly remember Deborah in your supplications, that she may recall the essence of family. The condemnations surged from every quarter. Relatives and acquaintances I hadn't communicated with in years suddenly held vehement views about my character. How could she be so callous? I always suspected something was amiss with her. What sort of individual forsakes their own blood? Mom eagerly engaged with every comment, replying with tearful emoticons and expressions of appreciation for their encouragement. The family members who had actually observed the Thanksgiving debacle remained mute, but their reticence did nothing to stem the torrent of judgment. Unknown individuals and remote connections branded me as egoistical, unappreciative, and malevolent. That proved to be the decisive point. I opened my banking application and fixed my gaze upon the automated monthly transfers to my parents, $3,500, funds they had dismissed as inconsequential. With a solitary tap, I terminated them. Then, I dispatched one final message to Mom. I have ceased the payments. I am no longer your personal cash machine. Do not attempt to reach me again. However, they utterly failed to grasp it. The calls intensified, inundating my phone at every hour. Amanda utilized various numbers to contact me after I had blocked hers. Dad left interminable voicemails, lecturing me incessantly about my purported familial duties. Mom escalated her social media drama, further distorting the story. I blocked them all: phone numbers, email addresses, every social media profile they might employ to reach me. Yet, I understood they wouldn't cease their efforts there, so I implemented safeguards. I telephoned James, the concierge manager of my residential complex. I need to add some individuals to a restricted entry list, I informed him. I supplied their complete names, physical descriptions, and even displayed their photographs. He nodded, meticulously recording all the details. Predictably, the following day, James called. My parents and Amanda had appeared, attempting to gain forceful entry. They created a disturbance in the foyer, uttering menaces and asserting they would contact law enforcement. That evening, I settled with my portable computer and commenced searching for properties in distant states. Perhaps it was time for a completely fresh beginning, in a place where they could not locate me. Some might label it evasion. I define it as establishing limits. They had ample opportunities over many years. They could have offered me encouragement, recognized my diligence, treated me with the same affection and regard they lavished upon Amanda. Instead, they demeaned me, disregarded my accomplishments, and only sought me out when they desired my finances. Now that their genuine nature has been revealed, I experience no remorse in severing ties with them. As I navigate through property listings in faraway municipalities, all I feel is liberation. Occasionally, the most constructive action you can take is to simply move on, even if that entails departing from your own kin.